What do you think it is if the Celtics are going to make the playoffs?
Well, there was a number of people, as far as Brad Stevens, that had a tremendous amount of confidence in Brad Stevens as one of the elite coaches. I believe he's a very, very good coach, but I think that only time will tell if you're an elite coach. How much can you vary how you're going to play based on your talent? Can you win when you're less talented, which they did last year, which for Brad, that to me, that's what he normally did. That's what he did at Butler. When he didn't have five-star recruits, he had a bunch of two-star, three-star guys. They played a great system. That's what got them to national prominence in college basketball. Last year, and how they do things, their out-of-bounds plays, their dead ball, timeout, what happens in those things, and how they play defense. We gave Brad Stevens a lot of credit. I never said he was one of the best coaches, but I knew he was a good coach. Playing with a talented roster, what would he do? That was the question I had last year. What will he do when Gordon Hayward comes back and Kyrie Irving comes back? And now we're starting to see it. This team is not gelling. We saw Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum thrive last season during the playoffs. Now we have Kyrie back, taking over the team. Gordon Hayward back, only a shell of himself. We don't see the team thriving because what they have not done is they're not going to sacrifice for their other teammates. That's why guys would come to work and not be happy. When you're not happy, it's not about shooting percentage. I need to work on my free throw. Man, we're not playing good defense. It's no. What they're telling me to do, I don't feel like is best for my game. Jaylen Brown, you could see it in him. Tatum, you can see it in his game. Kyrie, it's always been in his game. If you know Kyrie, you know the stories there. Him and Ty Lue, what they went through, what LeBron went through. Kyrie is about dribbling the basketball. He's the best dribbler of the basketball ever, and trying to take that away from him is not something someone's going to be able to do. So how they're going to play offensively, last year, Kyrie was out of the lineup. Kyrie's their worst defender. So now with him in the lineup, they're not. Their help defense is not necessarily the same. So guys aren't happy with their roles on the team. That's what makes coming to work not pleasant. And as a defensive team, this team is not sacrificing for their teammates trying to be elite on the defensive end.
And it's very difficult to ask guys at this point in their career to take a lesser role than they expect or they think they've earned. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Terry Rozier haven't been paid yet. They haven't been all-stars yet. They haven't established themselves yet. They thought, especially the first two, were trending towards that, and then you ask them to take a back seat. One of the guys you asked them to take a back seat for in Gordon Hayward is a guy, we're 55 games in. They're all better than Gordon Hayward right now. That's got to be frustrating. The fact, from the coaching standpoint, these young guys are frustrated and complaining, but the biggest issue with Brown and Tatum, they're both down 7% in three-point percentage from last year. Last year, Jaylen Brown was 39% from three. That's excellent. Now he's 32%. Last year, Tatum was 43% from three, one of the best in the league. Now he's 37%. So, their game has regressed somewhat. They're not happy with their role, and this is why that loss this weekend was so bad. They're up 28 the moment Kyrie hurts his knee. Now, thankfully for them, he's going to be okay. But if there was ever a moment for the young guys to try to say, see, look, we got this, you blow a 28-point lead in the final 30 minutes of the basketball game, or 28 minutes of the basketball game, the moment Kyrie goes out. Any push and pull Kyrie has had with, guys, you need to listen to me, you need to follow me, it got further established when the team had a 40-point turnaround in the negative direction the moment he goes out of the basketball game.
Now, it's easy to blame it on all the other things. To me, young players, a lot of times, they think 1 + 1 = 2. Oh, we played well last year. We played well in the playoffs. In year number 2, you know what I'm getting ready to do? I'm getting ready to give the league, I'm getting ready to handle the league. It doesn't always work out that way. And you can't blame that on the other players. Sometimes these younger players, that second year, third year, they don't grow as much as they thought because they thought the league was easier. They thought they had it figured out. So some of the problems that they have are in these young players because they're getting the minutes. It's not like Kyrie is shading their face when they're shooting. Right. You know, so we can blame it on those other things, but these younger players, regardless, I know this offseason, I know they were committed. They said they came back in better shape. Their game was in better shape, but it doesn't always equate to the numbers. Being a professional athlete is very, very hard. And these young players are starting to see in year number 2, there's a lot more to the game that I have to figure out that I thought I had figured out in year number 1.
Is there something to the fact that, look, last year when Kyrie went out, the team figured out how to play without him, changed up their game a little bit into more of Brad Stevens' system type of basketball and not really Kyrie going out there and doing his thing and everyone else were supporting cast members, and they flourished and they did pretty well. Is there something to the fact that maybe the young players aren't all growing when he's out on the court?
Listen, Kyrie, to his credit, after a really horrific start to the season, first 2 weeks, he's playing the best basketball of his career.
He is.
He could be an All-NBA member this year. He's averaging a career high in assists. What he's been doing over the last 6 weeks has been
It's definitely his best basketball as a Celtic.
And I think you can argue this is going to end up at the end of the year be his best year of his career, start to finish. Like we'll see how the numbers look out, and we'll see how, because he has such a bigger responsibility now than in the years they were good in Cleveland when LeBron took on the lion's share of the load. But the other thing, listen, you are at this point in the season, unless you have had a major injury to a key member of your team that changed it, you are about what your record says you are. And the Celtics all year long have been 4th or 5th in the Eastern Conference. And when we talk about how great they were last year, there's one way to look at it, 1 game away from the NBA Finals. Another way is 1 game away from being bounced in the first round. Like the 3 games against Philly that went down to the wire. Losing to up 3-2 against the Cavs with Kevin Love out and losing both those games, including one on your home court. They have not figured out how all these puzzle pieces fit together. And even though Kyrie and Al Horford, I think, have done what is expected of them, the other pieces, and Marcus Morris having a career year, all the advanced numbers say they should be better than they are. But their win-loss record, 56 games in, says they're an above-average team. And that's what they are, an above-average team right now.
Last year they figured out, though, how to all play together, didn't they, after Kyrie went down?
But they had been all – I think it's easier to figure it out when you're just saying, hey, guys, you were getting 18 minutes. Now you're getting 22 minutes. I think the reverse is what's more difficult.
I think the surprise that they're not better, because both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they can do more things. They can dribble better. I guarantee you in their workouts, they can shoot better. I guarantee you they can go other places on the court that they're more comfortable. But it's not transferring over to the game. I'm just not going to blame Kyrie. All right? They're just not having a great year. If Kyrie was not having a great year, then I could see, okay, well, let's blame him. I believe that the system that Brad is trying to run, when we have talented players, there's less freelancing in that system. And these guys have not thrived unless it's a structured system, which they had last year during the playoffs.
See? What are you thinking?
Well, you actually, when you get engaged, you actually kind of make the vows. That's why people actually go through with the wedding. You don't sit there waiting on the wedding day and say, you know, I wonder what she thinks. I wonder what he thinks. Typically, along the way, with the courtship, with the engagement is...
There's not supposed to be a lot of suspense in is the wedding happening.
Yeah,
That's usually a bad sign.
Yeah, I've been engaged a couple times. Nick, I think you've been engaged once, right?
Been engaged once.
Yeah, but, Nick, when you first got engaged, did you think you were not just rushed a little bit? Was not life coming at you very, very fast? And you felt like at this time, I better get engaged to this young lady. If not, I could potentially lose her. Is that not right?
All right,
answer the question. Yes or no?
To school right now.
Yes or no, Nick?
That is accurate. But I had no question that the wedding was going to take place.
No, right.
It was just maybe on a quicker timetable.
Right. Okay. Now, also, Nick, right? Now, I believe this is important. Also, Nick, right? I need you to answer these questions yes or no, because you're going through your 5 minutes.
Counselor.
You're running through my 5 minutes
Absolutely.
of time. Did you put your best foot forward as far as your engagement ring, Nick, right?
Yeah, I tried to, given the circumstances, yes.
Nick, right? Do I have to have a blind reveal? Nick, do a blind reveal? Nick, share your engagement story. Did you put your best foot forward, Nick? Or did you do what you had to do?
I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do.
That's exactly what Danny Ainge is doing right now. Later on, we'll go to Harlem this weekend, have a couple of drinks with Nick. He'll tell us that whole story. But sometimes people say what they have to say, do what they have to do so that they can try to win someone over. That's what Danny Ainge has got to say. Kyrie is saying all the right stuff, but Kyrie could have let him off the hook. He could have let him know, man, you guys can show up at the wedding. Man, I'm paying for everything. It's going to be open bar. Right. We're going to have the best of everything. No, he didn't. He said, hey, man, you come to the wedding, you might be paying for this yourself, or I might not
be there. And we joke about Danny Ainge and Jenna's bitterness about him not following her on Twitter. I found out this weekend Danny Ainge must follow me on Twitter. Maybe
Really?
some burner account or whatever. The official Danny Ainge doesn't, because can we show my tweet from the day after Kyrie's announcement? Congrats to Kyrie and the Celtics on their engagement. For the health and well-being of sports fans of Boston, I hope the wedding actually takes place on July 1st, 2019. I sent that on October 4th, the day after Kyrie did his big, or the day he did his big announcement, right when it happened. There's always been an engagement, and it's been a loose engagement. And because the thing is this, when people, if we're going to use the engaged analogy further, the reason they don't get married the next day is because a wedding has to be planned, because a wedding, like, there's time, right? Kyrie didn't sign the next day because there's money involved. It would have made no sense for him to actually sign. It would cost him an enormous amount of money. But one of the problems with having that much time is people do have changes of heart.
Uh-oh, what about that wandering eye?
Right, people do learn about themselves more, and they learn about their situation more. And so, like, I know that, like, this is one of the reasons that I was never calling Kyrie a liar. At no point did I think Kyrie was standing on that court at TD Garden saying, I hope to be here forever, while actually thinking, I know I'm out in July. I think in that moment he meant it.
He meant it.
But, man, this year has not gone according to plan. The Celtics' young players have not gone according to plan. Nothing has gone according to plan. And, oh, yeah, both teams in New York have double max available. And LeBron and he reconciled. And things look a lot different in the light of February than they did in October.
What is it going to take for that marriage to happen? Does it depend on if the Celtics can put this all together and start winning? How much do they have to win? What would it take to keep Kyrie in Boston?
No, I don't think Kyrie, not like Nick Wright, totally the opposite, got good intentions. And the reason why is because Nick Wright was out there in the world. All right? He saw the field. He said, I like what I got. I believe my chances of going forward, I can win some championships, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6,
Sure.
LeBron-ish. Kyrie's always had a wandering eye. And regardless of how much a person, a team think that can change, it ain't too much different in real life. Kyrie has been looking on the side and has been for a long time. When he requested that trade out of Cleveland, and Nick has been on this, he did not request to go to Boston.
And there is, if we're going to just, I mean, we might as well finish the tortured analogy. There is an element of how you found someone is very often how they leave you. And Kyrie, the Celtics got Kyrie.
Oh,
because
if he cheated on you, he'll cheat with you.
Okay, sure. There you go. Yes, that would be the analogy.
He'll cheat on you.
Yes, exactly. That's the analogy I was going to go. I was trying to be a little more delicate than that. But my point was, the way the Celtics got Kyrie Irving was by 2 months after he sat on an NBA Finals podium and talked about how committed he was to playing with LeBron, to growing together, to winning championships with LeBron. He said, I don't want to be here. So, of course, it was on the board that 2 months after committing to the Celtics, saying how much he wants to build with the Celtics, win championships with the Celtics, he was going to say, I don't want to be here. So to answer your question, I don't think there's anything the Celtics can do that would guarantee he stays. I do think a second-round exit will guarantee he leaves. And a team that's been stuck in 5th place all year in the East, what is the most likely outcome? A second-round exit.
All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.